Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast. We discuss news and politics. We're live on YouTube and Twitch. You can find me by searching for Likely Alien. Again, waiting on some justice. Um, yeah, I'm going to start by talking about the piece of content that I put out this morning after I read an article that said, hey, it doesn't matter which AI champion you choose. When they use it for fucking war games, 95% of the time, AI uses nukes. So you can understand why I don't want the AI anywhere near military decision making. Don't want it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And every morning when we start this show, we listen to War by Edwin Starr. As a reminder, we're not pro we're not pro war here. Okay? I want to make sure that I say, hey, if you think this is what the Iranian people want, okay? Consider consider that the Iranian people are chanting death to America and that we have radicalized Iranians for generations. I said, and hey, and I'm gonna point it out every day. We're not at war. Okay. Want a Bob? Evelyn? My beautiful wife Taylor, she's out there somewhere. Okay. I think I sent it twice. My bad, dog. Let me share that we're live. Magnificent. Yeah, have a magnificent Monday. Have a great start to your week. It's the Undertaker. Just sharing the show real quick. Oh, I think I already had that copied. Ha. Oh, no, no, no. Just sharing the show real quick, y'all. While we listen to War. Hashtag JWR. Hashtag FDT. And then let's see what everybody cares about. Like a whole bunch right now. Well, we always talk about the weather, right? So free Palestine, Slava Ukraine. So, just so you know, the goal is to have the show shared on Blue Sky by the time that song ends. So, we're in it pretty close today. Yep, people that say politics don't matter and that it's a matter of money fail to understand that the Pentagon doesn't pass its annual budget, so kind of doesn't make sense. Only thing I'd ever ask you to do, if you're on Blue Sky, I was gonna say, somebody put, is it Friday yet? The chat, like, yo, it's Monday, dog. What's up with that shit? Me down, I'm gonna rip it off. Every time walking behind my back. Um, yeah, let's talk about the news, huh? Russia bombed Hungary's pipeline, right? Okay. Just because it's international news and just because it's not as hard hitting as some of the other news doesn't mean it's not important, okay? Um, Russia bombed Hungary's oil pipeline, and Hungary responded by um, deploying troops against Ukraine. And they're using this as a false flag operation to help Viktor Orban's sinking re-election campaign. So, Viktor Orban suffering a fall I would wish upon Donald Trump. Actually, I'll say his name early just to get that in. I want to remind you, the president keeps talking about suspending the 2026 elections. That's the only way he stays in power. He can't run for office, and also he's not gonna pass a voter ID law requiring people to have a passport because only 31% of registered Republican voters have a passport. So he would just be handicapping himself and Republicans in all future elections. So I would just like to point out like 80% of registered Democrats have a passport. So hey, I'll take the mods. I'll take the mods. The only problem, again, I'm going to keep pointing it out, is the trouble of uniparty leadership. Yeah, we're barreling towards that. The Pentagon tells Congress there was no sign that Iran was going to attack the U.S. first. So this means the President of the United States ordered an attack on Iran unprovoked. Remember, it's Congress that declares war per the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, and any military action taken is as much as he was allowed to do already. He already did it. Blew his wad. Now, Keir Starmer, who just lost power yesterday effectively, the progressive movement won in the UK. He said he'll allow the U.S. base. Hold on, back up. Speak English, Jared. He's going to allow the U.S. to use UK bases to launch uh, strikes on Iranian missile sites. So understand, when you capitulate to war, like Keir Starmer's doing here, having just lost an election yesterday. We need a truly left political party in the United States that has a platform and of delivering universal health care, education, income, and housing to the American people, and getting rid of things like Citizens United, and stopping the flow of dark money into politics, and like I said, you got to pull your country left if you're going to pull it out of poverty. Look at every successful country in the world. It is not building prisons and concentration camps and turning the screws on society by changing the rules and shit to benefit the rich. There aren't that fucking many of them. And And that's what's fucking crazy about this. Not only are they dropping like flies, personally and professionally, but they come and go. They get up there and they fucking lose it just as quickly as they fucking made it. Happens all the time. Look at Elon Musk. You really want to talk about it? Crazy trajectory. Dude is going to be broke by 2030. Like, now the problem is everybody's letting off. Israel launches a barrage of strikes on Lebanon's capital, Beirut, after Hezbollah's offensive. The Lebanese militant group Hezbollah fired missiles across the border early Monday. They're realizing they gotta pull us into conflict or they got no fucking shot in the US. Americans are not gonna do this again. We did this in 2 countries for my whole adulthood. For 15, 20 years of my life. Meanwhile, Mark Carney and Modi signed a deal worth billions in diplomatic breakthrough. So here's Canada out here improving their relations with countries. The only problem there is, of course, India and Russia are buddies. Meanwhile, Lebanese President or Prime Minister Nawaf Salam says we're banning the military activities of Hezbollah and instructing security agencies to prevent any military operations or rocket launches from Lebanese territory and to arrest those responsible. So understand, Lebanon as a country is like, hey, these are not ours, especially because what did Israel do? Immediately fired on Lebanon's capital because of the actions of a few people. Oh, moneycontrol.com says the Saudi prince quietly lobbied Trump for military action on Iran, so Donald Trump's doing it for money. Sorry for saying his fucking name. Multiple private calls to U.S. President Donald Trump last month, urging him to launch military action against Iran, even as he publicly favored diplomacy. Oh, so there's why. It's all about the money. And unfortunately, traceable phone calls. So, there he is. There's the person responsible. Wow. You know what I'd heard already? Like, the U.S. is claiming that it killed Ayatollah Khamenei and the guy that they named as his successor. And then here's former Iranian President Ahmad Ahmadinejad. Every day's a fucking shit show, yeah. France is ordering its aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, to the eastern Mediterranean amid escalating regional conflict. Vitor, hey, what's going on? Ynet News reporting Israel hits senior Hezbollah figures after rockets on Haifa. IDF says strikes targeted top operatives and command centers in Beirut and southern Lebanon in response to cross-border fire as civilians flee and regional war with Iran deepens. So they're totally just having like a war in the Middle East. Iran taps a general link to the 1994 Buenos Aires Jewish Center bombing as the IRGC chief. No big deal. A day after the assassination of Mohammed Pakpour and the opening blow of the campaign, reports say his replacement is the former Interior Minister Ahmad Vahidi, wanted as a terrorist. Yeah. Iran is seeking to fill the ranks after a series of targeted killings in the opening strike of Operation Roaring Lion. The Sabarine News Network, affiliated with pro-Iranian militias in Iraq, reported Sunday that Ahmad Vahidi has been appointed the new commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. You know what's probably not great? When your military has a strong religious tie embedded in the title. Cultural tie, I guess. UAE is summoning the Iranian envoy and issues a stern warning of repercussions. UAE's categorical rejected any justifications and said these strikes endangered innocent civilians in an irresponsible escalation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned Reza Amiri, the Iranian ambassador to UAE, and handed him a strongly worded protest note. Strongly worded letters. That's happening in countries where there's literal war going on. The UK's Cyprus base has been hit by a drone. The Akrotiri Air Force Base. Small drone impacted the airfield. No casualties. Minor damage. It's a kamikaze drone. It's just a small little guy though. Yeah, shit is bananas. Alright? Wait. Didn't I just say? Yeah. So they killed Ayatollah. The Ayatollah, right? Khomeini? Former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad reported assassinated. So they killed like the number one and two in Iran in like 20. You know what I'm saying? Like you talk about forcing regime change, just capturing him and flying him and his wife scratch free to the U.S. and sitting them in a jail and then trying to charge them for shit they didn't do. That doesn't work out. Interesting decision. But Japan is going to ban the use of in-flight use of power banks. You know, the things you plug your phone into to keep it charged when you don't have access to an outlet. Yeah, it's because they're major fire hazards. Hey, good morning, everybody. Have a great Monday. There's a ton of shit going on all over the world. In Kazakhstan, they're planting trees so they can reintroduce tigers to the wild, and if that isn't the saddest shit that you've ever heard in your adult life. An entire country is having to be like, nah, the cats need a jungle first. the Jerusalem Post is reporting 9 Israelis killed, 11 missing, dozens injured after an Iranian missile hits Beit Shemesh building. So it says at least 4 apartment buildings are destroyed. A missile reportedly penetrated a local shelter. Several children reported wounded. Second impact registered in central Israel. They're saying like 10 dead, 500 wounded. The last sentence on this says, for now, the economy and the school system are closed, with only essential services open. So, awesome. Bloomberg reporting Saudi Arabia's biggest oil refinery has halted production after a drone attack. So now that the flow of oil has been disrupted in the Middle East, here's India mulling a return to purchasing Russian oil. So if you don't think this shit in Iran has anything to do with Vladimir Putin, consider one of the largest countries in the world is going to go buy Russian oil now because of the attacks in Iran, which are going to disrupt the oil supply in the world. So if you think that the president having a bunch of conversations with a Saudi prince who wanted him to conduct military activity in Iran was influenced by Russian propaganda, consider the propaganda is different depending on what country you're in. And if it benefits Russia, and Russia's got their hands in fucking everything, and it's public information that the Prince of Saudi Arabia is contacting the president multiple times. You don't think Putin ever spoke to that Saudi prince? You don't think they've ever been in a room together? About that. About that. The UAE is closing its embassy in Tehran, withdraws all its members of the diplomatic mission. Even higher. Even higher gas prices. All the more reason to buy renewable, right? Gotta have a 650 credit score to buy a electric car. Oil surges 8% as Iran conflict disrupts Middle Eastern oil flow. Who knows how that's going to impact us, right? Well, the thing about it is billionaires can't do anything on their own, so they're going to try to force people to become slaves first. And part of the reason to escalate this conflict is because it kept the U.S. and Russia and Ukraine from meeting in Abu Dhabi to negotiate. When we've just read in the last few days, hey, the Ukraine's saying we ain't fucking ceding our territory, and Russia's saying any peace includes their territory, and if it doesn't, we're staying in war. So all the more reason all the more reason for uh, Putin's to pull the strings, push the U.S. to get involved in Iran, because it benefits him. It benefits Russia. It keeps his war effort alive. Greece is deploying frigates and F-16s to Cyprus amid rising security tensions. Nope. And the thing about it is, you always see these uh, dingalings building bunkers and shit on islands. What do you think happens when like weather hits, like a tsunami or a fucking hurricane, and it goes right over your little bunker? Oh, it's magic. It's not gonna flood and ruin your food supply. Well, if you didn't think about that, you might be the dumbest motherfucker on earth. Because you know what? You always see the bunkers in like the low point, and you're like, you built a bunker on what was a seafloor. Smooth move. As the fucking sea level rises, and the sea is going to become more turbulent, boating's not even fucking safe. Look at what the U.S. is making boating unsafe on its own. And Politico reporting Moscow's gloating over being able to raise their oil prices from the Iran war. So, of course, when the president is compromised, Krasnov, and a Saudi prince is calling him dozens of times, go to war with Iran, and it benefits Russia. Putin's got his hand up Donnie's butt and is fucking manipulating him from the inside. No shit, no shit, we're involved in Iran. This helps Russia. This lady looks like she's gonna die. Ursula von der Leyen said the European Union stands collectively, firmly, and unequivocally with Cyprus. Dear billionaire, is your bunker flood proof? U.S. aircraft leaves Spain after the government says bases cannot be used. U.S. not being welcomed. The problem is all of the things that I would think to pray for are going to happen to him anyway. He's got a colostomy bag and a fucking catheter in. He's also like wildly irresponsible and is prone to mismanagement. Like I said, as somebody that grew up in a fucking nursing home, my mom worked at Miller's Mary Manor in Mooresville, Indiana, and I spent from ages, I don't know, like 9 to like 14, 15 years old every single day in that nursing home with them old folks. What do you think happens when you have dementia and a colostomy bag and a catheter in? What happens? What is the number one cause of death? If you worked with old people, you know. The Taliban have struck multiple military bases in Pakistan. Everybody just popping off right now. Qatar, per Bloomberg, has stopped producing liquid natural gas at the world's top plant. So certainly this is going to disrupt the production of natural gas. There you go, Stacy. Yeah, Bob said get voted president. Okay, well that was the number one answer. Jerk. No, I'm just asking. If a patient has fucking dementia and they're wearing a catheter and a colostomy bag, what is the number one cause of death? If you don't know any other information, you're thinking like, what are they most likely to die of? If a patient has dementia and wears a catheter and a colostomy bag, what is the most likely cause of death? Yeah, I was going to say. Infection, but the actual cause of death will be pneumonia. One of the videos I watched was a video about Donald Trump spitting while he speaks, and apparently uh, he's having trouble swallowing. So he just spits now. But one of the things about him spitting while he's speaking is indicating he's having trouble swallowing, which could increase the flow of bacteria into his system, increasing the likelihood of infection. But ultimately, he'll die of pneumonia, which is how my grandfather died, by the way. Pneumonia. From being more prone to infection. Anyway, European gas prices have jumped 45% after Qatar halts liquid natural gas output. I mean, somebody asked, like, how do we get a regime change here? How do we get a regime change? Yeah, well, here's what's going to happen. Donald Trump's going to die soon. Very soon. Just let nature take its fucking course. And I can promise you that there isn't someone behind Donald Trump that has the gusto. And I think it's dominoes from there. I think JD Vance might be the dumbest vice president ever. If you just line them all up and gave them an aptitude test, my faith tells me, like, my faith in hearing people speak and trying to figure out if they're smart or not, he don't got it. Okay, it's not. Hmm. Yeah, Beck. A few times. We've shared a few articles about the EU standing up for Cyprus, Greece standing up for Cyprus. Hmm. Three ships attacked near the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices jump and shares fall as conflict escalates. Brent crude, the global benchmark for oil prices, jumped by 10% to touch more than $82 a barrel. Natural gas prices surged by 25%. These idiots are stupid enough to try to weaken Bernieism. NATO says it's adjusting forces to counter potential threats after Iran strikes. Remember, here's what we don't know. I don't know what U.S. missiles have done. Volodymyr Zelensky, per the New Union Post, wants Ukraine and Belarus to be allies with the EU. Remember, who's still trying to unite people? I want to make sure that we say uh, Israel attacked Lebanon after missiles were fired from Hezbollah, like a terrorist group in Lebanon. So Lebanon did not attack Israel, Hezbollah did. And Israel attacked the capital city of Lebanon, saying we're attacking Hezbollah infrastructure. That would be like Canada attacking full-blown cities like Washington D.C. with a missile attack because somebody shot an RPG from Canada into the U.S. or whatever. That's crazy work, right? It's fucking crazy work. Just a few days into his run as Prime Minister, Rob Jetton said after a cabinet meeting on Friday that he presses charges on a weekly basis because of hate speech aimed at the openly gay politician. Belgium has seized an unsuspected Russian Shadow Fleet tanker. A suspected Shadow Fleet tanker. What are you doing, Jared? False flags, false documents. UK, France, and Germany vow defensive action against Iran's missile and drone capabilities. The Israeli military, per Reuters, says it has killed the head of Hezbollah's intelligence headquarters, killing Hussein Makled. Questions linger. The CBC is reporting, did Canada exchange officers participate in the US Iran strike planning? The DND says no, but questions linger. Up to 18 Canadian military personnel were on exchange with US in Bahrain and Qatar at the time of the attack. A former senior Canadian general says it's highly likely some Canadian military members on exchange with the United States would have been involved at some level in the planning and coordination of airstrikes on Iran, something the Department of National Defense disputes. Prime Minister Mark Carney has said he supports U.S. actions to destroy Iran's nuclear program. And then don't worry, everyone, OPEC to the fucking rescue. They said they're going to raise oil output slightly. Opposition leader Marina Corina Machado says she will return to Venezuela in the coming weeks. A 58-year-old industrial engineer. At least 9 people were killed in pro Iran protests, 10 people, at a U.S. consulate in Pakistan's Karachi. By the way, we don't cheerlead war. It's not what we're doing. Not what we're doing at all. None of this is fun. Not having fun. Okay. I was reading a Reddit post in the USMC subreddit this morning that would give most civilians would have to take the fucking day off after you read some of those stories of my Marine brothers saying like I was all fucking gung ho and shit and I was all shooty shooty bang bang, right? Come and kill your gang gang and until you watch one of your fucking homies die and then you this is not worth mm-mm, not a good use of my time and energy. I don't want to do that anymore. Gonna have fucking nightmares forever. And I venture to say you run into enough fucking actual war heroes and you're just like, holy shit, that person has been like wildly impacted by the actions of themselves and others. That's fucking nuts. Not like, oh my god, that guy is so scary and violent and fucking outwardly so. No, it's the people that are the loudest and like the most pro violence are the least likely to be involved in it. It's projection, or some shit like that. It's like a peacock. You ain't about that shit. You just talk about it. Now I have PTSD real bad, so my reaction to shit, like I don't cry no more. That shit don't. Mm-mm. Same look on my face no matter what the fuck's going on. Buenos Aires Times reporting the U.S. backs Argentina in a discovery fight in the U.S. $18 billion something or another oil. What the fuck is YPF? I'm guessing YPF is a. Alright, hold on. Here, you read. Ukraine is open to sharing anti drone expertise with allies. Right on, Beck. What I remember from being a little kid, so to go back to my point wasn't to be right. Like what the actual answer is, I don't know. But when I was a kid and I spent like 5 years, I spent mornings in a nursing home. Most of the people that had like a colostomy bag or fucking catheter, they die from pneumonia. At least in my experience, like a lot of death due to pneumonia, including my grandfather. Both of them. We saw this article the other day, but I didn't post it just because like it didn't fit. But Croatia has been declared mine free. That's cool. After 31 years. No working during the show. Yeah, right. All right, so you know what time it is. We've been here about half hour. I've said his name several times today. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make this anything but the fuck Donald Trump show. Okay. But about halfway through the show, he gets sick and tired of Trump this, Trump that. And shout out YG. Shout out N- Nipsey. All right, all right, all right. Every one of these is his fault. 3 U.S. planes are shot down in a friendly fire incident in Kuwait. Separately, there was a drone attack that hit a U.S. embassy. Excuse me. That included attacks from Iranian aircraft, ballistic missile, and drone. U.S. Air Force fighter jets were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti air defense. Good job, everybody. Good job. See, what happens when you don't have the blessing of everyone involved before you go on an offensive, and why you need to run it through Congress and Congress needs to approve this, is because these Congress people have people that they know that are ambassadors to whole ass other countries, that you might want to make sure, do you turn off your fucking air defense so that your automatic air defense does not take down my fucking fighter jets while I'm trying to conduct a mission in your country? Don't you think that might have been worth a phone call? I don't know. Maybe an email? Maybe a WhatsApp message? Apparently. No? Okay. Here's, let's track this story too. An Israeli intelligence agent has been charged for smuggling goods into Gaza. Moshe Lador, an embarrassment for the state of Israel. But Moshe Lador is a former state attorney. He says he doesn't have direct knowledge of the case. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't actually know who did it. Too busy partying at Mar-a-Lago. AP News reporting Cher's son has been charged with simple assault and trespassing at a New Hampshire private high school, which he isn't associated with at all. The attacks on Iran are a distraction from the Trump files. They're not called the Epstein files because Epstein wrote them about Donald Trump. And oh, by the way, in the Epstein files, or the Trump files, as I think they should be called, Jeffrey Epstein says if Donald Trump ever gets backed into a corner, he'll just attack Iran. Backed into a corner. Attacked Iran? ForceNews.com reporting airbase evacuations begin after the Royal Air Force Akrotiri airfield was hit with a drone attack. I think we already reported on this a little earlier. They need war heroes so they can continue to build their coalition of dum-dums. AP News reporting the war widens as Israel and U.S. planes pound Iran and Tehran, and then its proxies are going to hit back. So, Politico with a haunting title. Trump buries the 20th century. In terms of like norms and the fact that there are like multiple ceasefires and how there's like a whole process. Trump was asked about Trump was asked about service members dying and just walked away. Just turned and walked away and was asked about this war and was like, they have amazing statues. You have to look at them. The New Hampshire National Guard has been activated due to OPSEC. That's all the information. But that's interesting. Want to continue to point out the Pentagon is offering no evidence to support that it attacked Iran in defense. So I want to make sure that we continue to say this wasn't a preemptive attack. A congressman is saying, Joaquin Castro, a Democrat from Texas, is saying conditions at ICE facilities should be a national scandal. From Time magazine. Yeah, in my opinion, if you're an American politician and you vote in favor or you're in favor of war, your children should have to enlist. Not go to college, go to OCS, become an officer. Enlist. Straight out of high school. Hmm? Try that. Try that. Nothing will make you a socialist faster. Because you'll realize the only way that you'll ever live in peace, get 8 hours of sleep, eat three squares a day, the only way, and have a job that is fulfilling is either join the fucking military, be a high profile college athlete, which means you got to play a major sport. Otherwise it's a club, basically. How else are you going to live like a normal life? What? Oh, okay. Here's the CNN story about airplanes going down as a result of Kuwait's air defense. So we can turn off the Russian air defense in Venezuela when we go to capture Maduro, but not when we attack Iran. And again, some of these are repeats. France, Germany, and the UK are going to take defensive action. MAGA, my man. NPR reporting prediction market trader made $553,000 predicting the attack on Iran. So I wonder which one of the Trumps this is. Which one of Donald Trump's lackeys, which one of his cabinet members is betting on Polymarket? Seems like there's about 8 of them. Hey, that was 10 people. It's now 22. The AP is reporting 22 people have been killed in Pakistan. It tried to overrun the U.S. consulate. Reuters reporting Amazon's cloud unit reports fire after objects hit the UAE data center. Okay. Reuters reporting Trump says combat operations in Iran will continue until all objectives are achieved. And I want to point out Congress goes to war, not President Trump. Any actions that are being taken are approved actions. Anything outside of an approved action is an illegal one. All right. Aw, I was going to read this article. Historians are resisting Trump's effort to police the past. Is an instinctive authoritarian. By the way, war is not good for your political hopes. Just throw that out there. By and large, military action by the United States is not a desirable thing for the U.S. to be engaged in. There's no good things coming from a wartime economy. They were already going to lose the midterms. He's going to fucking die. He's trying to keep the fucking heat off his back. Man, he's a horrible person, huh? Mother Jones is reporting that Florida continues its execution spree despite a problematic track record. Um, Ron DeSantis signing a whole bunch of death warrants, man. Seems like a bad guy, huh? 19 executions last year. Great job, Florida. NBC News is reporting the Supreme Court is hearing challenges to the law banning. Wait. Challenges to law barring gun users from having guns. Hunter Biden, the son of former President Joe Biden, was convicted under the same law before being pardoned. Bars frequent users of illegal drugs from possessing firearms. Do what? The law could not be constitutionally enforced merely because the government alleged someone is a regular drug user. The appeals court found basing its ruling on an earlier precedent. The government instead must show that the gun owner was under the influence of the drug at the time of the arrest. Interesting little. The Hill reporting the GOP and Trump are set for a war powers confrontation with the Democrats after Iran strikes. So there's your story about them meeting. Politico reporting Trump's attacks on Iran put him in a shakier legal ground for before. There's no legal justification for this. Just throwing this out there. So I do what I want is not uh like a legal justification for doing shit. Common Dream says Trump should be impeached and removed from office. This is an illegal war. It's an opinion piece. Why.org says, hey, Trump's trying to steal the midterms. And I would want to point out, who would you say is a good political candidate for the right? Because I can't think of one or name one. When asked about military deaths, the President of the United States said that's the way it is. Said there'll likely be more. Daily Beast reporting Donald Trump bragged to his golf buddy about his war in Iran. He called his old golf buddy to shoot the shit. You see me fucking up Iran, man? What's up with that? Yeah. Isn't that cool? Globe and Mail reporting Donald Trump is the most dangerous man on the planet. Oh shit. Trump's uh, TV loving media regulars suddenly AWOL from the airwaves. All those people in the media that were like pro war and shit are suddenly not at work. Their lives are suddenly in danger. Funny, all of Donnie's buddies ran out. One of the more overlooked things in the past week was Melania Trump leading a UN Security Council meeting. Why the fuck is she there? The Albuquerque Journal reporting that the feds asked New Mexico to halt its Epstein probe in terms of the investigation into Zorro Ranch, and there's the picture of it. Not gonna lie to you, totally looks like a level from the video game Hitman. Hitman 3, I think. So, a couple more overlooked stories from the past week. Donald Trump has been humiliated as a walk of shame pops up near the White House. Love it. Now, war has a tendency to radicalize people. My hope is that it does not radicalize them to the right. LGBTQ Nation reporting Marjorie Taylor Greene is warning that the GOP will spend the whole year gaslighting Americans into voting red in the midterms. Yeah. And one of the things that we risk doing is normalizing this behavior out of the President of the United States. And I want to continue to remind everyone that we have higher expectations out of that office. He will be held accountable. I'm guessing it's after he fucking dies in office. And hopefully we get away from electing people like that to office that are on death's fucking door. But the education department is hanging banners of Charlie Kirk. No new wars this week. How about? I want to say Donald Trump has warred in like 8 or 9 countries so far. Oh, in news that I don't have the story for, I wanted to talk about how you know you're about to crash and fucking burn. Hear me out. So, Twitter had banned the bad shit from being able to be advertised: porn, beer, cigarettes, gambling, yada yada, crypto. It's largely what kept that app usable before it wasn't. And what they did was they unbanned all that. You only do that when you're on your death knell. And they banned. Think of it like they banned the opposite shit: healthcare, um, mental health, uh, you name it. They banned it as again, the nobody's using Twitter, man. It's all fucking bots and companies. That's it. Remember, ICE has a whistleblower already. About a year, maybe 15 months in, already has a whistleblower. Ro Khanna. Personally, I like Ro Khanna. He calls on Trump and Howard Lutnick to testify as a result of the Epstein files. Trump not responding to questions on service members killed is pathetic. The Hill reporting Senate Republicans say that you can't fix Iran. So, Dave McCormick on Sunday. Just so we know, because everybody's like, oh, Iran, they wanted us to do this. Okay? Somebody posted a comment on my video about what was going on, and they said Iran was cheering U.S. action on and Israeli action on. And I said, apparently, neither of us speak the language because, according to the fucking captions, they're saying fucking death to America and death to Donald Trump. They're not cheering us. Think about the U.S. committing military action in a country. Do you understand we fucking bomb and missile your infrastructure first so you have no electricity? You have no way to communicate. You have no oil before we put boots on the ground now? That's not how you fix shit now. Yeah. Hey, I know it don't feel good, but they're already saying this is going to be hell for MAGA at the midterms. They're already saying this is going to blow up in their face. No one wants this shit. And think about it. When you fuck up people's cost of living, especially people that have money, especially people that have money and are apathetic and they don't vote, guess what is happening right now? I'm willing to bet everybody and their fucking brother's checking their fucking voter registration. And if they're not, they fucking better be. Better make sure that you are fucking registered to vote and prepared when it is your time to fucking do your thing. Okay, the most patriotic thing you can fucking do is pay attention to goddamn politics. Be ready to talk about some shit. The US military reportedly used Claude in Iran despite Trump's ban. So understand what has been happening in the AI world as well. So what has been happening is that the U.S. military, more like Pete Hegseth, Keg's Breath, aka Major Drinking Problem, has been trying to get AI to help make decisions. More like have the military be autonomous. You don't want that. And Anthropic, who built Claude, said no. We're not going to help you conduct war using AI. And here's why. So, because I know there's some people out there that like their brain is not capable of understanding artificial intelligence or AI. First of all, it's a lie. It's not actually a naturally occurring intelligence. It is a computer program called a language learning module, an LLM, which means think of it like a computer. It has a bunch of memory, okay? And it can look into a database. It can build a database out of a gaggle of information. It can build you charts. It can show you data visualization. It can do a whole lot of things on its fucking own. But here's the goddamn problem. As someone who went to school for this shit, it doesn't get simple things right. Like math. Things we can't be getting wrong, it gets wrong. In my opinion, if a simple calculator is defeating AI is shit. If I can fucking Google it, get the right answer with sources faster than AI could figure it out, AI is shit. And my favorite thing about AI, it does not matter which AI module you use to conduct war games, whether it's OpenAI or ChatGPT or Cloud or it don't fucking matter. AI is not human and it uses nukes. In 95% of wargame simulations involving an artificial intelligence unit, it'll just use nukes. Because it's not a person. It doesn't understand that, like, you realize that whole region is going to be unlivable. It doesn't understand. It don't care about that. Why? Because it's a fucking computer program. It's not smarter than people. It's the people using AI are dumb. I've not met someone at the peak of their craft who's like fully bought in on AI and everything is automated for them. I have worked for a range of men and women and they thems. Okay? The most competent of them, not an AI user. The least competent among them, big AI fan. Okay? And it's a sliding scale. The better the leadership, the better the employee, they don't got time for that shit. I don't need that. Fuck are you talking about? Person who is awful at their fucking job and doesn't know what they're doing at all and their head is fucking swimming all the fucking time, they use AI because at least they're fucking organized. And that's the whole problem. You could have bought a $10 planner, done the same shit by hand, and you would be organized. And instead, you spent a half an hour on fucking AI, and here's the problem. Here's what people do. They give AI way too much of their information. Way too much. So now you're feeding a dumb system, a system that is not smart. It's not smarter than us. You're feeding a dumb system with your dumb. And it's learning off of your dumb. And you're being like, oh, let's let it like make war decisions. And it says, well, we're dumb. What's that do? A nuke? Oh, it'll kill the most people with a single bomb or missile? Tell me more. The majority of the other countries in the world don't have nukes. We should be using them. No one will fight us. We will stop war because that's what your AI is telling you. Do it. Go to ChatGTP, have it walk you through war scenarios, see how often it uses nukes. 95% of the time? Remember, an eye for an eye and the whole world goes blind. Just to make sure we say that. AP News reporting Australia's Prime Minister says they will not participate. Me neither. I just want to point out, within 3 months ago, IT at my company said the use of AI is forbidden. If you want to use AI, you have to ask IT. And within 90 days, my boss started using Gemini, and I started to be like, why? What are we doing? You didn't ask me permission. I don't have to. And it's like, what? We just got an email that IT forbade the use of AI like within 90 days ago, and we did not get a reversal on that. My boss was like, dude, I'm using it to take notes. I don't give a fuck. What? But that's how it is. The remember the bar shooting in Texas? That was an act of terrorism, more than likely. I hate it. I hate it because AI forces me to not work, and I have to fuck with AI instead. The Sandusky Register is reporting Buc-ee's is suing Mickey's in federal court. The National Travel Center convenience store brand Buc-ee's recently filed suit in federal court against Milan-based Kohl's IP, which owns Mickey's stores. I ain't never heard of Mickey's because all of them are in Ohio, north of Columbus. So interesting, interesting. Yeah, I'm not happy. It seems like it would take up more of your shift to fuck with AI than actually getting your job done. That just seems like a waste of time. Yeah, wild. FBI investigates a Texas bar shooting that killed two, wounded 14 as possible terrorist act. The gunman wore property of Allah with an Iranian flag design. So this was yesterday in the United States. I want to make sure we point this out. After the attacks in Iran, within 24 hours. Dude, I was at a fucking dance recital yesterday, and I could not keep from checking the fucking doors, thinking somebody was gonna bust in and shoot up these little teenage girls dancing. Could not ever. I'd be watching them and like bopping along with music, like trying to figure out I didn't know this song, like bopping along with the girls, like seeing them dance. And I'm a hip hop fan, and there was hip hop and jazz and solos and groups. It was fucking great. The kids are awesome. They love what they're doing. I'm happy to do that. And as somebody that was an athlete, you just try to be like a good fan, right? You got to know, oh, that was a good move. Fucking good job. You got to know when to clap and shit. But I couldn't help but like, it's like I'm, fuck, man, in my 20s again. Back in a conflict mind state where it could happen to us at any point. It's constantly thinking about backing myself into a corner, make sure I can always check my exits, and can I get to them before they notice I'm here? Because they're gonna have a problem, and it's me. There's been an earthquake in Nebraska, in southeast Nebraska. See what Aaron said? He said some people spend their whole day feeding AI and they're not getting shit done. Now, ultimately, I had to rationalize the odds of a shooting at a dance recital is nil. There weren't even that many people there. You know what I'm saying? Like a basketball game or a football game, something that's well attended. That would be a target. And I've said before, and I'll say again, you want to know when the revolution starts? When they start excuse me, interrupting our way of life. Football, basketball, baseball, big sports. When those start getting fucking disrupted, Marine F-35C stealth jets from Miramar involved in the Iran strikes. Hey, remember, don't be a fucking bootlicker. If you have questions about the legality of an order received or a task received, ask. Ask. And don't be afraid to ask. Ask the person in charge of the person you asked if you didn't get the answer you liked. And don't be afraid to like go to HR and shit and make sure. Let me explain. Okay? Been an employer over a year. As per usual, I am fucking stellar at my job. So get promoted regularly over the course of the first year that you're there. And they asked me what I wanted going into year two. What do you want? I want my shift changed. That's it. I just want my shift changed. Oh, what do you want? I want to share days off with my wife. I want to get off work earlier. Okay? I was told no. My boss told me no. So I asked one of my other coworkers that used to be a director, should I go to HR? Right. I asked my boss, who asked me if I wanted something. I've been here for a year, want an earlier shift. He said no. What do I do? And I didn't do anything else. HR came to me and said, we've been monitoring your communication with your boss. And we noticed that over the year that you'd work for him, you've sent him emails and Slack messages that have not been responded to. And we just wondered how you feel about your level of communication with your boss. And after I explained that, oh, I've texted him and called him too, and he doesn't communicate with me, they changed my shift. And I had to go to my boss and be like, I know that you don't like me, but just know that I didn't have to go to HR. They came to me. And he was like, oh, well, that changes shit. No shit, Sherlock. I agree, Bob. As I've said before, there can be no revolution until your way of life is just, and it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer games. Yeah, I don't want World Cup here. I don't want anything to happen. I don't want blood on my hands. But we're already without um we already got like a bad relationship with our allies. They've stopped sharing intelligence with us. That makes us less safe. But as long as our lives go on relatively uninterrupted, listen to a little bit of Eat the Rich. We'll check the weather and get out of here, okay? It's been about 90 minutes. All right. Oh man, 1 to 3 inches of rain forecast for the Ohio Valley on Tuesday. So somebody's going to get wet tomorrow. There's a winter weather advisory in Indiana and Ohio, and my wife texted me and said, "Did we know it was going to snow today?" And all I could think was it was 70 degrees within a week ago. I wonder how your infrastructure is going to stand up. Bang. All right, let's check the weather here. Holy shit, if you live in the Ohio Valley. In case you didn't know, that's where that is. So let's look here. Eastern Oregon, Western Idaho, Central and Northern Utah and Nevada, Wyoming, Eastern Wyoming, Western Kansas and South Dakota, and then, hey, the entire state of Kentucky is underwater. About half of Tennessee, the lower half of Ohio and Indiana, which, again, didn't they build like the fucking ark down that way? They'll be fine. One of every animal. Just kidding. That's where my entire family's from. So if you live, I don't know, east of the Mississippi, ought to keep your eye on the ball. No fucking surprises. Okay? They're talking about inches of ice, inches of rain on top of snow. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.